Welcome to our YouTube channel. So in this tutorial, I'm going to talk about the variable function in CSS. So what is a variable function? Variable function is actually used to create a variable with a local scope in CSS. And this has come with the latest release of the CSS. To create a variable with global scope in a CSS environment, you declare it inside the root selector, and the root selector matches the document's root element. So I'm now going to illustrate to you how to create the root selector and how to use the variable to style our elements. First of all, I'm going to create a HTML file. I'm going to call it variable.html, and I'm also going to create a CSS file and call it variable.css. This is where our styling for the HTML elements is going to be placed. I'm going to variable HTML and type HTML. I'm going to be presented with the HTML boilerplate. You can get it from the marketplace extensions for VS Code if you are using VS Code. I'm going to remove the unwanted lines. I'm also going to remove the script. Now, in our CSS, the variable, the root selector will be like this, will be like that. This is where we are going to place our variables. And remember, these variables have a global scope, which means that they can be accessed from anywhere in the file. Variables here, global scope. Now I'm going to connect our variable.css file from our HTML. Okay, this is where we are going to define our elements. Now I'm going to add h1 in our HTML. In our body, this is where we add the tags. Have h1. This one is going to say using var, or the variable function in CSS. I'm also going to have a div with the class of a container. This is where we are going to place some of the elements so that we can style them using the variable. I'm going to place h2 tag, call it lorem ipsum. Now I'm also going to place a paragraph, and I'm going to copy the lorem text from here. I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to place it inside our paragraph. Okay, I'm also going to duplicate this one so that we can have two paragraphs, so that we can be able to see the styling better using the variable function in CSS. Now I'm going to my CSS. I'm going to start styling. I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to declare the variables inside our root selector. So I'm going to declare, you start with 2, then blue. I'm going to call it blue. I'm going to give it the color code of 1E90, then FF. I'm also going to add a white color. which will be the default FFF. Then now first of all, I'm going to style the body of our HTML. I'm going to write the body. I'm going to give it a background color, which will be, now to use the variable, you just type var, then you indicate the variable that you declared in the root selector. Then I'm going to add a blue and close it. Once I save my file and I go to the HTML, and now here I'm going to open with Live Server. Live Server is a marketplace extension that will help you to automatically reload your file instead of going to the browser every time. I'm going to open with Live Server. You can see now we have the h1, which says using variable function in CSS. We have the h2 that is enclosed in our div with the class of container. We have two paragraphs with the text of lorem ipsum. And now we can see, using the variable, we have been able to declare the background color of our body. Now I'm going back to my VS Code and I'm going to style. Now I'm going to style the h2. So I'm going to type h2. I'm going to give it a border bottom of 2 pixels in width. It's going to be solid. I'm going to give it a variable, and now I'm going to take the same blue variable that we declared in our root. Now if I save and reload, you can see because I've used blue, let me use white so that you can be able to see the color codes well. So now you can see we have an underline below our h2. I'm also going to style the container, which will be the div. Going to style the container, which is a div. This is a main div. I'm going to give it a color of color, then variable of, to give it a of blue. Going to give it a background color of white. So I'm going to type var, then I'm going to use the white color, and I'm also going to give it a padding of 15 pixel. Right, now I'm going to save and reload so that you can see the changes. You can see now our div, and the div, you can see it has a h2 and 2 paragraphs, and you can see the styling. We have a background of white, and you can see now we don't have the underline below the h2 because you have used the default color background for white. I'm going to go back, and I'm also going to, I think we can style the h1. We can add another color. Maybe we can add not blue, we can add yellow, and I can be able to type yellow. Right, so I'm also going to say h1, I'm going to give it a text or color of, going to give it color, then I'm going to specify variable of yellow. I'm going to close it. Now if I save and reload, you are going to see h1 is going to have the yellow color. So that marks the end of our tutorial. We have discussed using the variable function in CSS so as to allocate the variable values in our elements like container, h2, body, and h1. Thank you.